Hi, so a test on the Rogue St Max and the Rogue Max LS, basically to see if I've bought the wrong driver or not. I've got a Rogue St Max and I've never really messed about with the Rogue St Max LS, the low spin one. I've just always had the standard driver because I generally am quite a low spin player, so I've never really thought that the LS would do me any good. But we'll see. I can always change to it if need be, and just interested to see if there is any difference. So I'll go with the Max. This is my own driver. This has got the Tensai AV Series 65 stiff in it. And it's just standard. Apart from that, set on neutral, set on 9 degrees. So have a go with this. I kind of know what my figures are on this. I've hit it that much in here, but we'll just have a few and see if we can get a good one away and assess that against the LS. It's a good strike. What's a good one to start with? 268, carry 295, spin 2,243 and launch 15. So I'm pretty happy with that because the best I ever really get in here is just over 300 total distance. So I'm usually in the 270s carry on my best ones. Felt like a decent strike. 262, carry 292, spin again 2024, 15 degrees launch. Again, these are figures I'm used to seeing. Not particularly high spin. Bit of a toe strike, I think. 259, 288. Felt like a decent strike. Bit low. 2007 spin, only 13 degree launch, so that's why that didn't go as far. Needed to get it up in the air a bit more. So I need to hit up sometimes to get my biggest ones. Launch it high with low spin. That's again a good strike. A little bit right. 263, 290. These are all pretty decent ones for me. For getting the 290s in here, it's good. Felt decent. Of a higher launch maybe. Got a bit further because I launched it a bit higher. 17 degrees launch, 2,142 spin. So in theory, if I was fitting somebody, I wouldn't think that they needed a low spin driver, and that's kind of why I haven't gone for one, but we'll see. Felt decent, but I can see it going right, so I'm not thinking that's gonna match. No, 257. Too high a launch. Might have been out the toe. Higher launch though, might carry a bit further. 269, carry 294. And up a bit, 2,600. 16 degrees launch. I think I have my eyes shut there. Right, this is maximum attack, by the way. I think it was all right. Don't know if it's a 300 or not. Oh, it is 301. Good. Well, the figures on that: 16 degrees launch, 2011 backspin, ball speed 157. I've actually seen 160 as my absolute maximum. 107 club head speed. The club head speed in here is a calculation based on what it's past the lasers in terms of ball speed. So ball speed's really accurate, but club head speed's like a calculation, so it's reasonably accurate. We occasionally get a funny reading, so I wouldn't go too much on that, but that probably isn't far off to get it over 300. Right, so I'll stop there and maybe have a quick look at the average if I take the best ones. Really, I'm interested in what my potential best is. I suppose we could look at and see if the LS is any less forgiving. But if I take a look at the average there, I've taken the best ones, everything above 290 total. Ball speed 155, launch 15.3, average backspin 2,200, carry 266 and total 295. So that's kind of what I expect to see from a decent batch. That's 7 good ones. We'll try and do that with the LS and see what the difference is. Right, so it's the Rogue St Max LS here with exactly the same shaft, the Tensai AV 65 stiff, same length, everything else. When I look down at the two of them together, if anything, I actually slightly prefer the look of the LS. It's got a slightly smaller profile from the top. It almost sits almost virgin on open, certainly really square. And I sometimes look at the Rogue St Max that I've got, and I'm on the course even, and I still feel it almost have to hold it slightly open. It almost is a tiny bit too closed for me, what I would really like. So in a perfect world, I would have the Rogue St Max probably. Well, we're about to find out whether it's better for me or not, but I would prefer the head shape on the LS. I think it looks like, for somebody that worries about hitting the ball left, the LS looks better. Actually, it looks like it sits square or even virgin on open, which I know some people wouldn't like. But if you're even in the slightest thinking about a low spin driver, then you probably are one of those people that likes the look of something that looks open or very, very square at address. So LS, exactly the same shaft. This is 9-degree loft as well, so it's set up just standard. So it should just be whether the tech inside is different. Appalling first shot from it. That's my first ever shot with it. It was appalling. 3,150, 11 degrees launch, but that's me. That's, you know, the spin's high there, so that's just a bad swing. And I suppose that's what you got to be careful about when you go for a fitting, is that you don't just blame the club. You know if you've made a good strike or not. So bear that in mind when you're being fitted. Again, didn't hit it well. It immediately looks lower to me. 14-degree launch. I'm still getting high spin, so I've not hit these well. Low in the face, that's what that'll be. So the first two I would ignore. I'll take them out. 15 degrees in 1971. So I've virtually never seen under 2,000 revs. 266 carry 296. So it's done pretty well. Very, very similar ball speed and club head speed to the one that hit over 300. 157. Slightly lower launch. We got 16 on that. So felt alright. Felt like it might go right though. 2024 spin, 13-degree launch. So it's quite low launch again. Too low to get far. A little bit right. 262, 291, spin 2254, 12-degree launch again, low launch. I will try this if this continues with a little bit more loft on it and see if it evens out and what happens there. But this is set on 9 degrees, same as my other one. I've hit 2 or 3 quite far out. I did edit out, if I'm being honest, edited out 1 or 2 of my early ones where my own driver where I hit it a wee bit right. But I didn't hit as many off that side. I feel like a decent strike. Oh wow, I was right. Yeah, I don't really see ones like that very often ever in here with my own driver, so there's maybe something about the weighting in this. It's just a bit less forgiving when you get it offline. See if we can hit up on this one. It's alright. Oh, left. It seems a struggle to get it up in the air. It's like one of these drivers, whenever I take the low spin ones out, and I've taken, you know, the Sim 2 low spin version, just felt like hard work to me because I'm kind of low spin. I feel like I have to try and help it into the air, hit it as hard as I can. You don't really want that feeling. You want something to feel easy and nice. So I can't handle this driver tonight. I still think if I absolutely nailed one, I could just about get it to 300. A bit better. 290, 15 degrees, 2011. Ball speed was only 153, so I've got a wee bit more in the tank. Not that good. Again, way right. Notice that when I get these ones that go to the right, they really do go a long way right. I feel like I'm really trying to hit it up to make it stay in the air, and it's a bit of a struggle. Okay, so that's it down the bottom there. See, this is the strange readings you get because you're not a robot. Ball speed actually came out higher at 156. I don't know if I believe that. Launch, I believe, 13.9 as opposed to 15.3. Spin 2,150, tiny bit lower, but it's more the launch I think is interesting. 263 carry as opposed to 266, and 292 overall as opposed to 295. That was leaving in everything that was over 290, so I took all the poorer ones out, just as I did with the first one, left all the 290s in. Right, so let's put the Max LS up to 10 degrees, see if that low spin head with a little bit of extra loft is the perfect answer, or whether it just matches what I'm doing anyway, another club. So that's on +1 neutral. The other thing it does, of course, when you put loft on, is it slightly closes the face, so I might not see those ones whipping off to the right. So LS with 10 degrees on it this time. Well, that's an interesting one. I got to 300, 271 carry, 300. 15 degrees of launch, it went up, 2,234, it's looking quite similar to my, it was 56 yards right, so it's a lost ball. It shows that the loft was the thing holding me back there with this club. Still right, could be me though. 300, that's 2 in a row, 300. Don't do that very often. 270, 16 degrees launch, it's going up a bit. It's done quite well considering it's only 155 ball speed. It's low 2019. Over to the right. Oh, finally got one in the fairway. Low spin 1864, which I'd never see on a long run. 15 degree launch. We only went 258 in the air, 289. Nothing to shout about. I think that was a better strike. I don't know where it's gone. Went straight, that's decent, I'll take that. 296, 265 in the air, 13 degree launch, 2019. So back to that slightly too low launch thing for maxing out the distance. I think I need to be launching it around about 15, 16 with the spin and the ball speed and everything that I've got to get over 300. Another decent one. That's a bit higher. 1997, 1978, 16. So it definitely spins less, I would say. It's just not massively suiting me, I don't think. It's okay, I could just about get away with this setup. I think if I bought this, I'd be just about okay, but better with the other one, I think. No, nothing special. Launched that one higher, so hit up on that. I'm trying to hit up a little bit on all of them. Miles right again. I don't think I'm anywhere near as forgiving. It's decent again. 2,125, 17. So this is getting close to the sort of figures that I get on my own driver, which is set at 9 degrees. This is set at 10 degrees. It's almost evening out. And falling into the same driver. So if I like this head better, this would be the way to do it. It's just, I think it's slightly more forgiving the other one. I'm going to hit it back to back in a minute. Is that one right again? Right, we look at the average now. I'll hit them back to back just to see how it feels back to back. Well, if I take all the 280s out, that was pretty good. That was 156 ball speed, 15.6 degree launch, which is similar to my other one. Okay, so there's the averages. My one at the top, 155 ball speed, 156 for the other two. Could have just been slightly better strikes that were doing that. Wouldn't expect it to be any faster off the face, the same head. 15.6 for the 10 degree launched LS, so it's really similar to my own driver. 2,137 spin. It was actually still quite a tiny bit lower spin, nothing minuscule, no difference really. 267 carry on that particular batch if I take the best ones, and 297. So it did go the furthest, but I reckon it would be pretty even. The only thing I would say is that I definitely felt like the LS was a little bit less forgiving. I hit quite a few more wild ones with it. although I like the head a little bit better, I could have it at 10 degrees and it would almost work the same as the Max, but I'd be slightly worried that that centre forward weight would be slightly less forgiving when I was going for a big one. I'm going to hit them back to back and just see how I feel in terms of that as well, so distance and also forgiveness. So this is my driver, careful don't get them mixed up, 9 degrees, no, a little bit right, an okay strike I think, 294. Let's try the low spin, set at 10 degrees, which I figured out is pretty much the same, giving me the same results, with maybe just a bit of less forgiveness. Felt like an okay strike. Oh, way left. No, I wouldn't have said that. Let's try my one again. Felt okay. So 264, 294. Back to the LS. Don't think it was as good a strike. 260 carry, 288. Another one with my one to finish. Get a half decent one of each and just see, half decent strike each and then see what's what. 265, 294 with LS. Decent strike. Oh, a bit hooky again. Didn't feel it was like that. Again, lower spin, not as much carry because it had that hook on it. It's just, I think the conclusion is that you could make, if you didn't like the Max head because you felt it was a bit closed looking and preferred the LS head, you could make it work, but you'd have to put the loft up and you'd effectively have a very similar driver in terms of the stats it's going to give you, the spin rates and the launch angle. But I think there is just a degree, because it's built for lower spin, the weight is forward in it, centre of gravity's forward, and it twists around that more easily than the Max does, where the weight is pulled back into the most forgiving area. So overall, I would give up that slight edge on looks for performance, because I don't mind the Rogue Max ST head. I've seen better looking heads, but I can live with it. I like the noise it makes. I've made no mention of it in here because I've hit these before and I've done tests on them before, but my one especially. But the noise that it makes is brilliant. It's really a good combination of solidity but not too high pitched. You get you get a lot of feedback as to whether you've hit a good strike or not. You kind of know. It's harder maybe in here. I think the acoustics are slightly different. That's why sometimes I was saying I think I've hit it well, because it's not as clear. You definitely get different noise on all drivers when you're outside, so bear that in mind when you're hitting inside. You know, that's not always going to sound very similar when you get outside. There is a definite difference when you get outside to the way that drivers sound. Certainly if you're looking for a lower spin driver that looks good, the Rogue St Max LS is one you should look at. I think overall I'm happy with the driver I've got. I think I made the right choice and I'll stick with it. So I hope you found that interesting. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.